Right, hi lads and lasses, and welcome to Darts Coaching with Dynamite Dave. Today's video has been prompted by one of the fans. He's a new fan to the channel, he's been with us a couple of weeks. His name's Mustafa, and he's new to darts. He's only just started playing darts, and what he's done is he's made the epic fundamental mistake. What he's done is he's been out and bought 5, 6 or 7 different sets of darts. And what he's doing at the moment is he's right at the beginning of his journey, and he's now trying to search for a nirvana or a utopia that doesn't exist. So what he's doing is he's trying to find, in his own mind, the right set of darts for him. So he's bought ones with different shapes, different weights and what have you, and he's using all these different darts, and what he's doing obviously is he's confusing himself. So whatever you do when you first start throwing darts, or even if you're a seasoned person now, if you're still doing it, stop it. Just stop. Stop buying loads of darts and throwing loads of different darts. You need to find one neutral set of darts, and obviously seasoned people, if they're that type of person who buys loads of different darts, which I think a lot of us are, buys loads of different darts and usually within a few days they can't throw them. And that's because, as I've spoke about before on many occasions, if you get a new set of darts, it's like buying a new car. If you get a new car, you want to wash it, you want to sit in it, you want to listen to the radio, you want to go on long drives in it, and then 3 months later it's lucky if it sees a bucket of water. So that's exactly the same with darts. You go to any darts shop or you go online, you get dead excited, you buy yourself a set of darts that you really like the look of, you turn up at the front door, you peel them out of the box, you're up here and you're like, ooh, I want to play with these darts, I want to play with these darts. So what you do is your focus level steps up. Your focus level steps up and you can chuck them amazingly, usually for the first, anyway, it can be anything from 10 or 15 minutes, half an hour to a couple of days. And then what happens is you start to relax, you start to not take them for granted, but you just start to relax into throwing them, and then all of a sudden your throw just goes to pot and you're back to square one. And I wish I had £1 for every time I'd heard that story. I really, really do. I'd probably be a millionaire by now, because it's usually one of the leading ones, along with I used to be fantastic when I was young. That's another one that I always hear. Oh, I used to be fantastic when I was young. And funnily enough, you're not very good now. And there's always an excuse. And our kid, one of my favourite people in the world, I love him to bits, but he did exactly the same thing. He used to be absolutely awesome when he was a kid and when he was in his teens. And he had a set of darts and they got put away somewhere and he couldn't find them. He come back to darts. He started chucking again, but every set of darts he had, the excuse was, these are not my darts. I can't find my darts and I can't throw any darts other than my darts. And I remember from the 80s. So we had a bit, I know I'm going off piste like I always do, but went and had a proper good rummage in my old fella's house and we found his darts. And you know something? He couldn't chuck them either. I won't say he couldn't chuck them, that's not right, you know what I mean? He just wasn't to the level as he was when he was young, or what he believed he was when he was young. So it's just one of them things, it's just one of them stories that I hear loads and loads of. You have to forgive me, I'll be back in a minute. I need a shit. Ooh. Mildred. So I hear you cry, what dart should I buy, Dynamite Dave, if I'm just starting out or I'm lost in the wilderness trying to find a decent set of darts? Now obviously if you're a seasoned player and you've got 25, 30 sets of darts or whatever you've got in your thing, in your arsenal, what you should be looking for, something that we're going to talk about over in section 1, and section 1 is going to be at the actual bench itself. So if you're going out to buy a set of darts or you've got loads of sets of darts in your drawers somewhere that you think to yourself, well, there's got to be a set of darts in there, which there has got to be a set of darts in there that I can actually chuck and stick to. Right, so let's get over to the bench and have a look at that right now. Right, so here we are over at the bench, and as you can see here, we've got set up a load of different types of darts. So what we'll do is we'll sort them out into different shapes and different weights. Right, so going from the left, we've got I think this is a 15 gram, this is a 15 gram dart, straight barrel, straight cut. So it's a straight barrel, straight cut with a little bit of a taper at the end. It's only a tiny little bit of a taper at the end. The only slight downfall for this type of dart, and it's concurrent with the material that it's made out of, because it's only 15 grams and it's made out of tungsten, and quite an high level of tungsten, as you can see, it's quite a thin dart. Now, me personally, I prefer something of sort of this sort of thickness. There's a difference between that barrel and that barrel of probably a couple of millimetres, 3-4 millimetres, but it does make a difference. Ideally, I like something about this width. Again, this type of dart has got a different shape than these type of darts. What we've done is we've put them into different shapes, and we've got one that's a bit of an outlier as well. So this one is 15 grams, straight barrel, very slight taper on the front. This dart here is a straight barrel again, 2 different types of cuts, right, which is another thing that can be important, and I'll explain why that is shortly. We've got this shot dracar, which is thicker at the back and sort of like is level to there, and then it comes down from there in a cone shape to the point. Now these darts are fantastic for certain things, and this is where I'm saying to you, if you start out and you get a straight barrel and you become really good with a straight barrel, then you can start experimenting. Stick with the straight barrels for your practice and your chucking when you go into competitions and what have you, but buy, if you want, a different shape of dart and have a go with them. And then if you like the way that they throw but you're not fantastic with them, feed it in. So use your normal set of darts and just start to use these a bit more and a bit more and a bit more till you get to a tipping point where you think to yourself, right, I haven't got a comp or anything for a couple of weeks. Now what I'll do is I'll go onto these darts permanently and then just start chucking them as your main set of darts. This set of darts here is the Loxley Robbins. These are a very individualistic type of dart. This is meant to be like an arrowhead. I think it does look like an arrowhead. It's got standard flight on it, standard stem. The barrel has no grip on it. What you can see, it's got what they call a micro grip on it. Something that, it's like a texture more than anything. It feels like brushed aluminium. When you run your finger across it, it feels like brushed aluminium. Those darts are very, depends on what your preference is. If when you get to be a good dart player, you might like these. To be honest with you, I very much doubt it. They're more of a collector's dart, in my opinion. But that's only my opinion. Again, we'll put the caveat in. Everything that I ever say is subjective. It's entirely up to yourself. If you think that it's common sense, then crack on. If you don't, then you're best off just going watching someone else. Right. The Target Carrera C3s. Now these have got what I consider to be the best long-term shape of barrel. If you do the Dynamite Dave way, this is a type of barrel you can start off with if you're starting off with the Dynamite Dave way. This is the type of barrel I would use myself, and I did use myself. I used this all the way through I'd say just after the development stage. From just after the development stage, when I first started doing my YouTube channel, about 3 months after that, I'd say that was when I started using the Target Carrera C3s. These have got a pixel, what they call a pixel grip on them. They're an absolute nightmare when you first get them. Not because of the shape, but because of the grip. The grip is very sharp, so it sticks to your fingers, and you think to yourself, I'm never going to get on with these. But a couple of weeks down the line, or even a few days down the line, the build-up of dead skin, well, it sounds awful, but it's not. The build-up of dead skin in the actual pixels means that it settles down to a fantastic grip. But the thing that you can't do is wash them every 5 minutes, because once you've washed it, that sharpness comes back. The one on the end, I've picked this out because really it's one of the only peculiar shape set of darts that I've got. And these are the Dennis Priestleys. These are Dennis Priestleys in 21 grams. And they've got a thin barrel at the back end there. They've got a bit of a lump in them, which is good for two things. Again, same as this one, but only in a different way. And I'll explain those two in a second. So you've got the Dennis Priestley dart there with a bit of a lump on the front. Right, so if I was saying to you, or you were saying to me, Dave, which dart out of these, so we've got 6 sets of darts there, which dart would you recommend to start off with? What I would recommend to start off with, if you're on your own individualistic throw, you're not doing the Dynamite Dave way, and you're just doing it yourself, is I would pick these. So let's shift all the others out of the way. Right, now, what I'm going to say to you is, why would Dynamite Dave pick these? For the simple reason is, as I've said to you, they've got a straight barrel, they've got a slightly tapered nose. It's not as tapered as I would like to see it, but it's okay. The main reason is you've got 2 sets of grip on it, and you've got a split in the middle there where the actual grip changes. And the reason these are such a fantastic beginner's dart is because when you're doing the serve, when you finding your way with the serving hand, and your serving hand is your opposite hand to the one that you throw with. So your serving hand, you hold the darts in your serving hand. Like if you do it the Dynamite Dave way, you do it like this. So I've got hold of the dart, and as my fingers come in, I locate onto that. And I know then, as I've let go of that, I know that it's right in my hand, because as you can see, if I turn it round there for you, as you can see, my rear finger is on the rear grip, my thumb is on the front grip, and my finger is on the point right next to the barrel. Low advanced techniques, I know, but the reason why I love to have my finger there on the barrel is if I throw my first dart at 2-2 and it's just underneath, all I do is slide my finger along the point, and as you can see there, as I slide my finger along the point, it pushes the dart up in my hand. So I throw it exactly the same way, and all being well, which it usually is, it lands about 1/4 of an inch higher at the point. So that usually means that it goes in the 2-2. So that's the reason why the Dynamite Dave way, the grip works, and it works really well. And obviously the solidity of the dart in your hand. If you hold a dart like this, look at that. So if you come and you put your dart in your hand like that from your serving hand, when you pull your dart out of your serving hand, it can be there, it can be there, it can be there, it can be just slightly off like that. And the dart then, obviously the point, that makes a difference where the point's going to land. If you've got the Dynamite Dave grip, which is as simple as that, 3 fingers, 1 over the top, sitting on the top, 1 thumb right up the middle. So we've got that there, we've got the top finger on the back part of the actual grip, so I can feel that, and I can feel with my thumb that my thumb is on the front part of the grip, so my actual balance is right in the centre. Front finger on the actual point itself. As I say, if you look at that, that is, if I ain't even gripping it with my muscles, but you can see the difference in how solid that is in. I'm just laying it in my fingers. There's no tension on my fingers at all, and you can see how solid that dart is. And that's the whole thing about the Dynamite Dave way. I have thought very, very, very deeply about every aspect of this, and that is the reason why it works. Right, so that is the reason why I would pick that dart if I was a beginner now, or if I was recommending a dart for a beginner. And there's loads of different types of them, loads of different, let's get a couple of others that you can just pick out of nowhere. See, and you don't have to have that dart itself. You've got that exactly the same, nice and straight barrel, very slightly shorter barrel, doesn't matter, irrelevant. And then you've got these target ones with a Swiss point on them. They're exactly the same. These have got a tiny little bubble on the end of them, I think. No, they haven't. No, it's a straight barrel. It's more or less a straight barrel. So you could pick any one of those types, or any one of a myriad of other different straight barrel darts. What you're looking for is that is slightly better than that. That is slightly worse, because obviously that's got something almost a bull nose on it. So that's like a bull nose, that one. But it's still a straight barrel dart, and it's still the type of dart that I would pick personally. Right, so that's his little section there. So now what we'll do is get back to the main body of the video. Right, so let's get over there right now. Right, so that was over at the bench. I hope you've enjoyed what I've told you today. I hope you found it entertaining as well as informative. Right at the end of the video now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of an update for you. Everybody on the channel knows that I've got an heart condition. I've got to go in for a major open heart surgery operation, and I've got my pre-operative meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So that's on Monday the 20th of May at 10 o'clock. I'm going to go then, and hopefully I'll be able to give you an update over the next few days of how that went and what our timescale we're looking at, because obviously when I go in for the surgery I'm going to be out of action for filming wise probably 4 to 6 weeks, something like that, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not going to be able to go back to my full-time job. They're suggesting it could be 12 to 14 weeks, so we'll see what happens anyway. So thanks very much for watching. Don't forget, lads and lasses, never a true word spoken. You'll only ever get out of this game what you're prepared to put in. And always, 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 toe to the hockey.